There are certain actions you should never excuse. They don't come with shouting or violence, but show up quietly in workplaces, relationships, and ordinary conversations. A broken promise, a cold glance, or silence when you needed someone to stand up for you. Little things, yet they reveal everything. Power doesn't fall in one moment of chaos. It fades each time you tell yourself to let it slide. You felt it before when someone spoke to you with hidden disrespect and you pretended not to notice. Or when a friend let you down and you said, "It's fine," but deep down, you knew it wasn't. Not because they changed, but because you never drew a line. Each time you stay quiet, you think you're keeping peace, but you're only delaying betrayal. One day, you realize you're no longer respected not because you became weak, but because others learned you won't stand up for yourself. Power rarely dies in open battle. It fades through quiet tolerance. There are 7 subtle behaviors that slowly destroy your influence, respect, and position. The first one always shows when you're most vulnerable when life is chaotic. When things fall apart, when you desperately need someone's support, but instead they disappear. They call it space, but it's betrayal wrapped in silence. Betrayal doesn't begin with confrontation. It begins with avoidance messages unanswered, promises ignored, eyes that suddenly can't meet yours. People think loyalty is proven by time, but it's tested in storms. When life is easy, everyone seems loyal. When you win, they celebrate. When success shines on you, everyone wants to be near. But when the storm comes, you notice how fast familiar faces vanish. No words, no goodbyes, just absence. That's the dagger of silence. It doesn't pierce immediately. It drains you slowly. You start making excuses. They're busy. They didn't know. Maybe they're struggling to. But deep down, you recognize who truly cared and who only stayed while it benefited them. Then one day, when you rise again, they return with warm smiles and soft apologies. "I wanted to help, but didn't know how." You don't need their explanations anymore. Their silence already said it all. In difficult times, silence is not confusion, it's a decision. They chose comfort over courage, safety over loyalty. And when you rebuild, they're the first to appear, trying to share in what they abandoned you to face alone. You can forgive, but don't forget. Forgiveness gives you peace. Forgetting gives them another chance to wound you. Betrayal is not only emotional, it's strategic. When people see that you accept being abandoned without consequence, they stop respecting you. You don't need enemies to lose power. You only need to show that you can be left behind and still remain silent. Power doesn't collapse loudly. It erodes quietly. The true measure of a person isn't shown when they celebrate you, but when they stay while you fall. Many who once praised you will vanish when you struggle, and when you recover, they'll come back with excuses, stories of confusion, pressure, or misunderstanding. But the truth is simple. They didn't choose you. The price of overlooking silence is not losing friends, it's losing authority. When you take back those who walked away, you send a message that betrayal carries no cost. From that moment, loyalty becomes an act, not a value. People stay for benefit, not respect. They smile, but behind it lies calculation. You stop being someone they admire or fear. You become a throne waiting for someone stronger. Power isn't lost through betrayal alone. but through allowing betrayers back into your circle. Betrayal doesn't roar, it whispers. It doesn't strike fast, it slowly poisons everything it touches. So remember those who were silent while you struggled. Don't hate them. Don't explain. Just remember. Real loyalty doesn't need words, it shows itself when everything falls apart. And the ones who left you when you were weak will never defend you when you're strong. If you've ever felt abandoned, understand this: it wasn't lost. It was cleansing. The world has simply revealed who truly deserves to walk beside you. When someone disappears during the storm, don't search for them once the sun returns. Leave them where they chose to go, in the memory of the rain. Betrayal doesn't require revenge. The only true revenge is rebuilding your strength without them. And when you rise again, a single glance will be enough for them to understand you've changed. You are no longer the same, and this time you won't tolerate what you once allowed. Boundaries aren't built from softness. No throne stands on kindness. Survival belongs to those who face their wounds and say, I've seen, I've learned, I won't forget, because in the game of power, the traitor isn't the greatest danger. The real threat is the leader who forgets where to draw the line. Once you lose the coldness to say enough, you lose more than control. You lose yourself. But betrayal is only the first cut. There's something even more destructive than being abandoned in chaos. It's when the one in charge begins to fear their own power. From that moment, collapse doesn't come from enemies outside, but from weakness within. That is the second great mistake. Fear at the throne. Nothing spreads faster than fear, and once it reaches the top, everything below begins to rot. When a ruler begins to doubt his own authority, those beneath him learn how to betray, not because they're evil, but because they stop believing anyone is truly leading. Cowardice isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It hides in endless delays, behind phrases like, let's wait a little longer, and behind the mask of caution. A weak leader never says no. He says, we'll see. A weak man never acts. He just keeps planning. And while he waits for the perfect moment, his power quietly fades away. You can't spot this type anywhere. In offices, in governments, in families. The one trying to please everyone. The one too afraid to upset anyone. The one who stays silent instead of confronting what's wrong. He believes that avoiding conflict makes him wise. But all he's doing is spreading uncertainty, not among his enemies, but among the very people counting on his strength. When people sense fear at the top, they begin to lose faith. And when that faith dies, no rules, no morality, no speeches can save what's left. A real leader doesn't wait for certainty. He makes choices in the fog, acts even when unsure, because he understands that hesitation is the enemy of power. Think about it. A boss afraid to take responsibility. A partner too scared to speak the truth. A friend who watched you struggle but said nothing. Did you still respect them? Probably not. Because in that trembling moment, you saw what the world despises most: weakness. People can forgive mistakes, but they never forgive fear. A leader can act wrongly and still be respected for his courage. But if he hesitates, even his best decisions later mean nothing. In every crisis, the one who refuses to act becomes trapped by his own fear. Fear of failure, fear of being disliked, fear of accountability. And while he trembles, others quietly take his place. The most dangerous thing about cowardice is that it doesn't admit what it is. It disguises itself as logic. It says, "I need more proof." It says, "I just want to be careful." But the truth is simpler. He's just afraid to face the price that power demands. Because power always asks for something in return. Every choice you make will upset someone. Every command will cost you something. But if you want to keep your position, you must accept that loneliness is the border that separates a leader from the LED. There's an old story about a king faced with rebellion. His advisor asked, "My lord, should we negotiate or attack?" The king hesitated. "Let's wait and see," he said. 2 days later, the rebels took his palace. When captured, his final words were, "I didn't die by the enemy's hand. I died by hesitation." That's the brutal truth. Power doesn't belong to those who wait. While you pause, others act. While you look for safety, others seize what you're afraid to touch. Power always favors the decisive. Fear doesn't just paralyze action, it corrupts perception. Every time your hand trembles, every time your voice wavers, people don't see empathy, they see weakness. Nothing kills respect faster than hesitation. A strong leader can be wrong but still command authority. A weak one can be right but gain nothing. The world isn't ruled by those who are correct. It's ruled by those who dare. The brave move forward despite mistakes. The fearful freeze and lose everything. Strength isn't cruelty, it's discipline. When firmness disappears, someone stronger will take your place. Many confuse cowardice with self-preservation, but in truth, fear doesn't protect you. It strips you of everything that matters. Look around you. How many people hold positions but never speak truth? How many protect their image while losing their integrity? They smile at everyone yet are quietly despised by all. They think they're safe, but they're dying inside because fear and power cannot share the same space. A real leader doesn't wait for permission. He decides while others are still debating. He doesn't fear being disliked because he understands people may resent him, but they'll still trust his strength. The one who fears being hated will never be respected. Cowardice doesn't invite mercy. It invites manipulation. People speak gently to the fearful, but in their minds, they're already planning his replacement. And when everything falls apart, the coward always says, "No one told me it was this bad." Of course not. No one warns a man they no longer respect. When a ruler begins to fear disapproval, he loses his ability to command. If you want to keep your throne, don't aim to please, aim to lead. Don't seek love, seek respect and trust. Because in reality, people don't follow those who are agreeable. They follow those who make them feel protected. And safety comes only from a leader who acts despite fear. One day, you'll face the storm and all eyes will turn to you. No one will ask if you're afraid. They'll only want to know, will you lead? If you hesitate in that moment, it's already over. Not because you lack ability, but because you lack coldness. True strength isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. Cowardice is the second poison. It doesn't come from outside. It grows within the leader. If it isn't removed, everything you've built will crumble quietly. But there's another poison, even sweeter than fear. It doesn't make you tremble. It makes you smile, not because it loves you, but because it wants you blind. It's flattery disguised as loyalty, the soft poison that ruins every kingdom. The most dangerous enemy isn't the one holding a sword. It's the one standing beside you, smiling, saying, "I'm loyal to you." Nothing blinds faster than praise. Flattery is a gentle toxin. It doesn't wound you. It soothes you to sleep. Enemies keep you sharp, but flatterers make you dull. Enemies force strength. Flatterers dissolve it quietly. It begins as light rain, compliments, nods, words like brilliant, exceptional. No one does it better. At first, it feels good. Then you start to crave it. Soon, you're addicted. You begin choosing comfort over truth. That's when your power starts to fade. No one corrects you. No one warns you. You no longer hear truth. Only echoes of your own ego coming back through their words. And that is the most dangerous moment of all. When you mistake manipulation for love and comfort for control. Flatterers aren't loyal to you. They're loyal to what you represent. When your power fades, they vanish with it. They bend whichever way the wind blows because they have no roots. A wise ruler keeps a safe distance from constant praise because praise can build you up or quietly destroy you. When someone agrees with everything you say, don't assume it's understanding. It's usually fear or self-interest. The people who truly care about you will tell you hard truths even if it hurts. Flatterers will lie just to keep their place beside you. They never look like enemies. They appear as friends, supporters, and loyal followers. They're always nearby, always nodding, always saying, "You're right." But when you need honesty, they disappear. Notice how when you ask for an opinion and someone says, "You already know the answer," it sounds respectful, but it's just their way of staying innocent if things go wrong. The most dangerous advisor is the one who only agrees. A real ally challenges you. A fake one just keeps you comfortable because comfort keeps you blind. Flattery kills awareness. Everyone smiles, agrees, and praises you until reality finally hits. And by then, the same people who once cheered for you are already walking away, whispering, "I knew this would happen." Flattery is more than deception. It's quiet control. And the worst part is how easy it is to love it. You start craving it. You begin choosing those who please you over those who correct you. And before long, you surround yourself with people who only reflect your ego back at you. Empires don't fall because of enemies. They fall because of too much applause. Truth fades when comfort takes over. And most powerful people become addicted to comfort. They confuse being adored with being respected. They chase worship and forget that those who worship today will betray tomorrow. Once you depend on sweet words, you'll avoid the truth completely. And when that happens, you're no longer the one in control. Your need for approval controls you. Look closely around you. Is there someone who always agrees with you? Who never argues? Who always praises you? That's not loyalty, it's danger. The honest ones who dare to correct you are the real strength behind any kingdom. Without them, you'll start believing your own illusion of perfection. Right up until the moment the crowd turns against you. Power falls for two main reasons: fear and flattery. The leader who fears losing approval will never command respect. And the leader who craves constant praise will never see betrayal coming. Both destroy themselves, one through silence, the other through pride. Flattery doesn't strengthen you. It only makes you feel strong while you weaken inside. It's the sweet poison that blinds you. And by the time you realize it, everything you built is already gone. The flatterer destroys with a smile while the traitor does it with a knife. But the smile is deadlier because it blinds you completely. A compliment can feel good, but a warning is worth far more. If no one dares warn you anymore, the end has already begun. When all you hear is applause, remember, the same crowd that cheers for you today will turn on you tomorrow. Flattery doesn't kill you in secret. It kills you in the open while you're still smiling. And after the flatterers are gone, a new threat appears: those who mock you publicly. They don't hide behind kindness or lies. They challenge you openly, and that's where true power begins to crumble. Power doesn't end with violence. It ends with laughter. One well-timed joke, one public insult, and suddenly the crowd realizes the person they feared can now be ridiculed. Power isn't built from steel. It's built from belief. And once that belief cracks, everything collapses. You don't need a rebellion to fall. All it takes is doubt. And doubt begins the moment one person dares to question your authority out loud. From that moment, respect weakens quietly, spreading like smoke. No one strikes immediately, but you can feel control slipping away. When someone mocks you in public and you say nothing, people stop seeing strength. They see weakness. You may call it patience or maturity, but in power, silence often means surrender. Once people believe you won't defend your position, others will follow that example. What starts as one person's joke soon becomes a movement of defiance. A ruler can lose everything and still be respected. What if he loses authority? Respect disappears completely. The smart ones don't attack you with force. They use laughter, sarcasm, small public challenges. And while you convince yourself it's harmless, your image fades with every smirk. That's how power dies, not with blood, but with mockery. Every rebellion begins as a joke. One laugh in the wrong moment can undo an entire legacy. One mocking glance can erase years of authority. Power isn't measured by muscles or words. It's measured by silence. The quiet that falls when you walk into a room, and the day that silence turns into laughter. Your reign is already over. When someone challenges you publicly, don't rush to anger. Watch carefully. He isn't searching for truth. He's searching for followers. He doesn't want peace. He wants your place. And the crowd, always drawn to boldness, begins to shift toward him. That's the turning point. If you stay quiet, you look afraid. If you shout, you look unhinged. So what do? Stay calm. Don't shout. Don't explain. Just respond with precision. With a coldness that reminds everyone who's in control. The challenger doesn't fear words. He fears composure. It's the calm stare that says, I don't need to raise my voice to command. People don't analyze what you say. They feel your energy. If you hesitate, they sense weakness. If you hold steady, they see strength. Power isn't about winning the argument. It's about making sure your opponent never dares to test you again. If someone mocks you publicly and walks away untouched, he becomes a symbol for others to do the same. And soon, your throne turns into just another seat anyone can occupy. Never let the first act of defiance pass without a response. You don't need to be cruel, just clear, quick, and decisive. A real leader doesn't rule through anger, but through discipline. Every joke, every sarcastic comment, every small act of disrespect is a test. The more you ignore it, the more they'll push. Empires don't fall from attacks outside the gates. They crumble from laughter inside the walls. Because once people believe they can mock power, power is already dead. Don't mistake tolerance for wisdom. A wise ruler knows the difference between forgiveness and weakness. Sometimes, just one sentence, one look, is enough to restore order, not through fear, but through renewed respect. When done right, the crowd falls silent again. No one needs to be threatened. They just understand who leads. That's the art of quiet dominance, not victory by force, but by presence. The ability to command respect without words. But public defiance is only the surface. Beneath it grows something far more dangerous, betrayal born from mercy. It doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from those you once helped. They once cried in your presence, thanked you for saving them. But when you stumble, they're the first to step on you to climb higher. Nothing is more dangerous than the ungrateful. The ones you lift up are often the first to turn against you. You give them chances, open doors, believe your kindness will change them. But when the storm hits, they're gone. Worse, they step on the very hand that once pulled them from the pit. That's the cost of mercy without discipline. The ungrateful don't see kindness as grace. They see it as weakness. In their eyes, you're not generous, you're useful. And once they've climbed high enough, they forget who lifted them. Ingratitude always starts small. It asks for help, then it expects it, then it demands it, and eventually, it believes you owe it. You forgive them once, and they call it a right. You stay silent, and they call you weak. That's how goodness becomes mistaken for foolishness. Forgiving a betrayer isn't mercy, it's self-destruction. When you save those who've already betrayed you, you teach everyone that betrayal carries no cost. From that moment, loyalty loses its meaning. People stop seeing it as honor and start seeing it as convenience. They think, if he can betray and still be forgiven, why can't I? And with that, order fades. Respect dies. The throne starts to shake, not from enemies, but from those you spared. Mercy only has power when it's limited. Without boundaries, kindness turns into bait. The ungrateful will always come back, not to thank you, but to take more. They'll remind you that you once believed in them, and if you soften again, the betrayal will return. Only this time, it will cut deeper, because they've learned exactly how to win your forgiveness. The harsh truth is this: those who are saved forget faster than those who saved them. To them, pain is in the past, but power is now. You'll see them standing beside your enemies, smiling, pretending things have changed. But deep down, you know human nature never changes, only the masks do. The one who has been forgiven often betrays quicker than one who never was, because he's tasted your mercy and knows you'll hesitate again. Power doesn't allow repetition. A mistake once is a lesson, twice is a choice. Kindness isn't weakness, but in the realm of power, it must have limits. True mercy has boundaries. The wise know when to stop, when to deny a second chance to those who only return to strike again. If you've ever saved someone who later turned against you, see it not as betrayal, but as a lesson. Power teaches, never water dead soil. Not everyone who falls deserves your hand. Some fall only to pull you down to. Watch the ones you help. The grateful show it in silence. The ungrateful in words. The grateful remember quietly. The ungrateful repeat the story to remind you what they think you owe them. And when someone says, "Without me, you wouldn't be here," understand, they're not grateful. They're rewriting history, turning your kindness into their credit. A kingdom cannot stand where ingratitude is tolerated. Gratitude holds ruler and follower together. Once it fades, only pretense remains. Don't demand gratitude. The sincere remember without being told. The ungrateful forget even if your name is carved in stone. Let them go and learn the lesson. Mercy is a test. Fail it once, never repeat it. No shouting, no hate. Just close the door for good. Because if you open it again, you're not saving them. You're digging your own grave. Kindness doesn't redeem the ungrateful. It emboldens them. Each time they see forgiveness, they learn how far they can go. When you forgive the ungrateful, others watch. They see your hesitation and learn that betrayal carries no cost. From that moment, true loyalty dies, replaced by opportunists waiting for their turn to strike. The ruler loses the most not when he's attacked, but when he smiles at the one who attacked him. Because then everyone understands punishment is gone, and weakness now rules in the name of mercy. Mercy doesn't make you powerful. It makes you predictable. Once they sense that, your throne begins to crumble. Ingratitude is a slow poison. It wears the face of those you once trusted. The one you saved who still turns against. You should never be given another chance. He'll weaponize your kindness next time, and you'll lose more than trust. You'll lose command. Better to lose one ungrateful man than to let him stay and teach others betrayal is safe. When mercy is abused and kindness exploited, power decays. But there's a greater danger, not from the ungrateful, but from the talented without loyalty, the ambitious who serve only themselves. Ambition is fire. It can build or burn a kingdom. It's not ambition that's dangerous, but ambition unbound by loyalty. These people are clever, capable, and charming. You trust them because they seem sincere. But watch how they move when power shifts. They don't attack directly. They wait, observe, collect your flaws, and strike when you weaken. Not through rebellion, but through timing. They won't destroy you. They'll replace you, step by step, with compliments and patience. They celebrate your victories, stay silent at your losses, and quietly build their path to your throne. Ambition without loyalty sings sweetly. It flatters, supports, and stays near power, but never commits. When things go wrong, it withdraws, calling it strategy, not betrayal. The world calls it evolution, but a snake that sheds its skin remains a snake. The disloyally ambitious speak of vision, progress, and destiny. But every road they pave leads to themselves. The cruelest part is, they truly believe they deserve the throne more than you. Not because you're weak, but because you showed them your weakness too soon. If your successor knows more than he should, you've written your own downfall. You think you're training a follower, but often you're raising your replacement, and he'll use your lessons to take your place. The danger of this kind of man lies not in aggression, but in patience. He won't attack you directly. He'll build, polish his image, and slowly win the hearts of the people. Then, when you stumble, he'll step forward as if out of duty, and the crowd will whisper, "He didn't want power. He just did what had to be done." That's how every betrayal becomes celebrated as destiny. A wise ruler doesn't fear ambition, but constantly tests loyalty. Ambition can be guided. Disloyalty can never be repaired. If you meet someone talented but vague about commitment, take it as a warning. If he talks about teamwork but never says us, if he shines in success but disappears in your failure, don't admire him, watch him. A gifted man without loyalty is more dangerous than a fool with faith, because a fool can learn. The disloyal will only learn how to replace you. Power runs on trust, but trust untested is an open door for betrayal. Don't be blinded by intelligence. People are loyal only while they need you. Once they don't, loyalty fades quicker than a promise. So ask yourself, if I lost everything tomorrow, who would remain? If you can't answer instantly, prepare for the next betrayal. The ambitious without loyalty don't carry weapons. They wear smiles. They don't attack. They wait, watching as you crumble under misplaced trust. You won't hear the sound of rebellion, only applause, until you realize it's not for you anymore. Ambition without loyalty is a silent poison. No fight, no blood, just a quiet replacement. And before you realize it, your portrait in the hall has been swapped for another. But there's a poison even more dangerous than betrayal, cowardice, or flattery. The force that can destroy a kingdom without a single war. Hypocrisy, not true virtue, but morality turned into a weapon. When justice and compassion become tools to seize power, the throne is lost, and with it, faith in humanity. This is the final poison, when morality itself becomes the sword. True virtue brings light, but when wielded by the ambitious, it becomes a golden spear that pierces without drawing blood. Nothing is more dangerous than those who attack in the name of goodness. You can fight an enemy with a sword, but not one who hides behind righteousness. These people don't shout or rebel. They speak softly, using words like justice, fairness, and the people deserve better. It sounds noble, but it's not justice they want. It's your place. Hypocrisy is the perfect weapon, because you can't fight it without looking cruel. If you respond, you're heartless. If you stay silent, you're guilty. No matter what you do, you lose. That's how hypocrites win, not with reason, but with emotion. The crowd doesn't seek truth. They seek someone to cry with. A single accusation, a well-timed phrase. Is he too cold? Does he deserve power? And the fire spreads. No proof needed, just feeling. From that moment, you're no longer the ruler. You're the accused, tried not in a court of law, but in the court of public opinion, where guilt is assumed and forgiveness must be earned. When morality becomes a weapon, true power becomes meaningless. The ruler turns into a criminal in the eyes of the emotional and the loud. When emotion takes the throne, reason is executed. That's how power truly dies, not by rebellion, but by applause from those claiming to be righteous. They'll say, He's cruel, heartless, disconnected, and in fear of being misunderstood. You'll begin to justify yourself, explain your actions, soften your will. But the moment you fear judgment, you are no longer leading, you're being led. The crowd doesn't want truth, it wants spectacle, and the cunning will use that. They'll pretend to care, to cry, to fight for what's right. But behind the tears is only ambition. They'll say, "I do this for everyone." But if you look closely into their eyes, you'll see no compassion, only hunger for power. The truly moral person gives advice in private. The hypocrite performs in public. Anyone who claims to fight for justice but needs an audience isn't seeking justice. They're seeking attention. They don't want to make things right. They want to be seen making things right. That's how morality turns into theater. And once the stage is set, you, the leader, are no longer the hero. You're the villain in their performance. The crowd always loves those who cry beautifully. When the hypocrite weeps, his flaws are forgiven, while your silence becomes your crime. But you're not told to destroy morality, only to expose it. Don't argue or defend. Simply reveal it for what it is, because false virtue dies under light. Once people see that this goodness is just a tool, it fades like mist in sunlight. But if you let it thrive, it will bind you with a rope called compassion. When morality becomes a weapon, every strong decision is labeled cruelty. Every pause becomes guilt. Every failure becomes proof of evil. And if you give in, you teach the crowd a dangerous lesson. Emotion outranks strength. From that point on, anyone who can cry loud enough can take your throne. A wise ruler doesn't fear tears. He fears the weakness that responds to them. Because the moment you want forgiveness more than respect, you've already lost. Let them cry. Let them judge. You stay silent, not from guilt, but from understanding. A wolf never argues with sheep. Never allow morality to be turned into a blade. Once people begin to demand blood in the name of good, justice no longer exists, only stories. And in those stories, the best performer wins. If you let them win once, they'll never stop. Today they'll condemn you. Tomorrow they'll condemn each other. And eventually, they'll destroy everything in the name of goodness. Power doesn't die by the enemy. It dies by what it allows. When hypocrisy is tolerated, when emotion replaces reason, leadership is already gone. No war, no blood, just a soft accusation and a tearful speech. And the empire falls. That is the final poison among the seven. 7 hidden blades disguised as normal behavior. Because in the world of power, normal is the shortest road to ruin. The lesson left behind is clear. A ruler doesn't need to be loved, only respected. 7 poisons, 7 cracks that destroy empires. Not through weapons, but through small acts of softness. A betrayal forgiven, a coward excused, a flatterer tolerated, a joke unpunished, an ungrateful man welcomed back, a disloyal talent kept close, and finally, a hypocrite celebrated. That's how power dies, not by force, but by comfort. True strength doesn't come from kindness or blind loyalty. It comes from boundaries, cold, firm, and unshakable. When you lack the courage to say enough, the world says it for you. And in that moment, you no longer create order. You live under someone else's. Power doesn't vanish in explosions. It fades to applause. Applause for weakness disguised as mercy. For hesitation disguised as understanding. For surrender disguised as grace. Real order is not built on love. It's built on discipline. The wise don't rule by fear of violence, but by fear of reverence. The quiet understanding that even when they don't speak, some lines must never be crossed. If you've made it this far, you already understand. True strength isn't about being loved. It's about having the will to cut away what no longer deserves to stay. Leadership isn't words, it's boundaries. So make this vow. I will not tolerate betrayal. I will not fear being hated. I will not be gentle with deceit. I will draw the line and hold it, even if I must stand alone. Because only those unafraid of solitude are fit for power. Write it as your oath, not a slogan, but a promise to yourself. I draw the line. You're not just agreeing with philosophy, you're choosing clarity. In a world obsessed with being loved, only those who refuse to bow remain truly respected.